Hi guys. Essentially today we're going to keep on doing missions with our Captain Lightning, aka Captain Marvel. But let's get started with doing the vault. Essentially with this character, I will do the vault with you guys. Uh, just because essentially I'm looking for the Captain Marvel T-shirt, obviously. And I'll give you an idea of how many times you'll need to do the vault if you're looking for a specific item, like a t-shirt or a hoodie or I'm not sure if doing the vault before level 30 gives you a mark of victory. I have to admit I didn't pay attention enough. I assume it doesn't give you a mark. It probably starts giving you a mark only at level 30, but I realize I have no idea. It doesn't seem to no, doesn't seem to give a mark. So sorry guys, no mark of victory before level 30 it seems. And no Captain Marvel t-shirt yet. But we do have a Prometheum logbox, which we will open once we reach level 30. Because with the logbox also, I don't think you get a mark of victory if you're not level 30 yet. So let's wait. Let's be patient and wait. So essentially, our next mission will be the Metal Malpractice mission. So we have to go to the Metropolis General Hospital, which is close to the little Bohemia police station, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, well, it will give us a reason to fly around the Metropolis to go there. And let's see if there's a mission we could take here. Nothing for us. So let's get out of here. So at this point, and probably for a while, I will not really worry about the advanced mechanic. I'll just use whatever power I feel like using at the time. But at some point, we'll probably take a closer look at the electric powers and try to see how they actually work and the best way to use them if possible. And also, technically, right now we do have the healer role available to us. Uh, but I probably won't start healing for a bit still, and I'll probably make a video later down the round about later down the line about healing, because essentially I want to have my healing overtime power, and essentially I want to be able to take all the power so that I can properly explain all the various aspects of healing with an electric character. Basically, healing is similar on all the powers, but there's distinctions from powers to powers. Like certain powers, like nature, will be more of a healing over time power, from what I understand, as opposed to electric healing is more what is known as burst healing. Essentially, the distinction is that the power over time, the healing over time, you start your healing, and then as time goes by, a bit of health gets given to each character. So the characters are healed over time. They're healed. Like let's say it will heal. I don't know. Let's say 100 health point every 5 seconds, and then after 10 seconds, you got 1,000 health point. As opposed to the burst healing could possibly give you 500 hit point right away, and but it will be like a one shot. So in theory, the healing over time could give you more health over a longer period, as the burst healing would give you maybe less health, but it would give it to you right away. So depending on the situation, you may prefer to have a burst of health as opposed to healing over time. So essentially, you start the healing over time, and as time goes by, the group gets healed a bit and a bit and a bit. So when they get a bit of damage, it gets pretty much healed right away. As opposed to when they get hit with more powerful abilities or by more powerful NPCs, then you may want to give them a burst of heal right away to get their health back up. I know it may not it may not make much sense right now. It'll make more sense when I can actually show various examples with the powers, and even better with a guinea pig with another player to heal. So for now, I'll probably stick to DPS a bit. And as you can see, as usual, the big yellow arrow tells you where to go. And of course, you saw there was a few side missions in the open world. So if I'd taken them right off the bat, I probably would have made them progress a bit more. But that's okay. It's not the end of the world. So you have various bags to pick up. You have various NPCs to pick up. And as usual, you have the yellow arrow telling you where to go. I've seen people who would complain that they didn't see the yellow arrow. The reason for that often is that it's off screen, like their screen is cropped too tightly around their character. So one way to correct that is that you can hold the L1 button, and then with the D-pad you can zoom in and zoom out on your character if you want to. So if you zoom in too close, it could happen that you pick up the ball and you don't see the yellow arrow. So you just zoom out a bit until you're at a comfortable distance, and then you should have no problem seeing the arrow. And I'm not sure why I changed target. It happens. So as you can see, I'm using this weapon combo a lot, but then again, I was interrupted, of course. It's a combo that I'll use quite a lot until I get the weapon. Oh, here's our friend Bizarro. We won't bother him too much. He's too powerful for us right now. Usually at this point, I pretty much switch to the PvP open world. But I think I'll keep this character in the PvE open world just to show the distinction. As you can see, there's a lot more people right now than there was when I did the same mission with my Wolverine character. So there's a lot of combos, of weapon combos we're using right now. which are pretty good for a level a low level character. But sadly, once we reach well, not so much once we reach level 30, but once we'll have 45 45 skill points to assign. We're going to be able to take weapon mastery, and once we have the weapon mastery, odds are we won't use a lot of those combos quite as much. This one we'll still use because it'll be part of a weapon mastery combo. If you saw the video, I essentially you know that the like this one, I would keep on going and it would switch into the bow weapon mastery. The same with here. I would be able to do the brawling, which is why sometimes you'll see me jump towards the target that I'm fighting, like lunge towards the target that I'm fighting, because I'm so used to this combo. Essentially, right now we do the weapon mastery, so I'm so used to doing the weapon mastery that even though I don't have the weapon mastery, I'll have a tendency to try to do it still because it's muscle memory essentially. I just that's how I'm used to using the character in melee. So so even though I don't have the weapon mastery yet, I kind of play as if I had it somehow, if it makes any sense. So essentially, we have two skill points to assign, and if you see me hesitate, is that I'm always hesitant to take the health the health innate abilities. I often have a tendency to prefer to go straight to the precision here. Essentially, the quicker you can kill your target, the less you actually need to have extra health. If it was extra defense, I'd be more tempted, but extra health, no, I'll just go for the precisions. So we still need a few transponders. So we need two more. So let's keep on fighting. Let's fight the good fight. And as you see, I usually start with my damage over time. It's pretty similar in every role. Like if you play controller, no reason not to start with the power over time, which will give you power slowly as the fight progresses. And the same with healer. There's no reason not to start with the heal over time, so that it heals you slowly as the fight progresses. And the same with the damage. You start with the damage over time. So even if you don't do anything, the damage over time will damage your target slowly but surely. So let's see which one we'll replace this one. And we'll replace, oh yeah, the belt. So why do I put those items aside? Just so that when I go and re-imprint my armories, it'll make it easier for me to find the items I've replaced once I'm going to switch to my healer armory. It's pretty much that simple. And as usual, the quest tracker did not switch automatically, so let's switch it by hand. And as you see, let's take it right away. I usually do the this part of the mission before taking this side quest. Let's take the side quest first and see what happens. Oh, and I hear something. Oh, there it is. So essentially, as you see, I start with the damage over time. So as you see, even if I don't do anything, the character is still getting damage. So, and it's even better. Like if the character is getting damage and I'm attacking it at the same time, I'm technically almost doing twice the damage, if it makes any sense. Or you say I'm doing damage from two different sources. So let's use our friend here as an example. So I'll start the damage over time, and you can see that he's getting damage even if I'm not doing anything. So if I start doing damage to him, Well, I'm doing damage from two sources. I'm doing damage with him from the damage over time, and at the same time, I'm doing damage to him with my uber weapons or from a power maybe. Uh, I hate it when the the quest item I need phases out just as I reach it. Not sure why it does that, but it does happen fairly often. So as you see, when you start the damage over time and then you start attacking it, you can see the character's health bar melt pretty quick. So there's no reason not to start with anything over time, really. Like if you have a damage over time, you start with that. If you have a health over time, you start with healing over time, you start with that. If you have a power over time, you start with that. And there's no reason not to keep it going. Like if I was fighting a boss, right now the NPCs die pretty quick. But if I was fighting a tough boss, I would be able to cast the damage over time two, three, five times during the fight, and there's no reason not to do so. Like as soon as the damage over time ends, uh, if you're if once your cooldown resets, there's no reason not to use it. And also, as you start your damage over time, uh, as usual, it gives you. I'm not sure. Let me check. As usual, it gives you 45% extra damage. I have to look it up because I'm playing so many characters and I'm using so many different powers that it makes it confusing sometimes, or it's safer if I look it up than give you the wrong information, I suppose. So again, we start damage over time, and so in addition to the damage over time, all our attack will do 45% extra damage. Oh, we have a new friend. Depending on how you want to see it, some people see that as we're competing for the same objectives. But usually, it will share the objectives with pretty much everyone who's nearby, who's close enough. So even if technically it could be considered that we're competing with each other, in some cases we're actually helping each other out, since we're all going to benefit from completing the objective. Assuming that the quest does share the kills or the the rewards, because once in a while there are quests that somehow will only give the reward to whoever actually did kill the NPC. I'm not sure why. Oh, we got a new end blaster. Oh, let's equip that. So and let's click on the quest tracker. So let's go save our friend, Supergirl, who's trapped by the evil Dr. Psycho. Yeah, I'm trigger happy sometimes. So again, we start damage over time, and then we start blasting our way through. I don't know if you've noticed once I killed one target, the beam, the hand blast beam did switch to the closest target. Let's see. As you saw, it once I defeated the first agent, I did not need to stop and restart my attack. By default, it switched to the nearest target. Usually it's useful, sometimes not so useful. There's a time or two when as I was uh, as I was doing that, I would switch to let's say some exploding barrels, some red barrels that were nearby, uh, and I would obviously make the barrels explode. So sometimes it's essentially it's a mixed blessing, but usually it's a good thing. As you saw, was interrupted. So it's one of the drawbacks of this attack is that essentially through the whole time that you're blasting like this, you can be interrupted, and as you saw before, you will be. Usually the NPCs will lunge at you and send you on your back, sadly. And as you saw, technically I defeated the NPC, but in this case the NPCs don't die. They just stop being hostiles. So the beam would stay on the NPC even though it was no longer hostile. So there are cases like that where you have to pretty much switch target manually. So we have to find our friend Dr. Psycho. Sometimes he's hard to find. The easiest way I find to find him usually is to go full auto with dual pistols. Like let's say if I do this with a character that has dual pistols, it will make it easier to find him. But another trick to find him is in the case of this character, I'll just do my damage over time, and as you saw, even though I didn't see him, I didn't had no idea where he was. It did start damaging him. So there's a sometimes it's more difficult than other. But not yet. Sometimes it's more difficult than others to spot our friend Psycho. Uh, but you develop techniques or strategy, I guess, as time goes by to try to detect him. But sometimes you'll have a weapon or a power that won't be really helpful in finding him. So sometimes you just have to go around the room and try and find him. And so it's a mission that can be annoying a bit depending on what power or what weapon you're using. But in the case of our friend Captain Lightning, well, finding Psycho, as you saw, was pretty easy. I should probably do this mission with my Phantom character to illustrate how even easier it is with a character that uses dual pistols, since you can essentially go full auto and detect the little guy. I'll probably try to show an example at some point. So there's this ability that essentially is a fairly good crowd control, and when you're surrounded by a lot of enemies, it's a good ability to use. Oh, the little bugger. I hear something, but I think it's on the other side of the wall. So, why did I just break the barrel instead of bringing it with me? There's another one where I'm going, so I did not really need that barrel. But it's always useful to break it to get essentially the the feat about breaking 100 orange barrel. So here we have to free our those little meta-human patients who are trapped in those not sure how to call that, tubes or something. So as you break the tubes and free the patient, usually they will help you out against all the guards. And it doesn't seem like it, but those guards they're pretty tough usually. And usually there are some more that spawn when I don't know. Well, I guess they did spawn already. So as you saw, we have a barrel here again. This console has to do with villain side mission, so you can listen to it if you want some extra lore, extra information about the game, but you don't really have to. And as you saw, like there was another healing barrel. So there's in some of those areas there's more than enough healing barrel to go around. So don't be shy about using them. There's no reason not to use them.
Behave yourself. Oh, goody! Someone to hit.
So as you saw, was surrounded by them pretty ladies. So when you're surrounded, you try to do an area of effect attack that will essentially damage everyone around you. And our friend, there it is. Oh, no, yeah, that's the illusion. Our friend Psycho should be nearby. So as you see when he's invisible like that, oh, there he is. When he's invisible, you'll sometimes will have a hard time finding him. But if you just start your damage over time, I'm not sure why I could not block break him. But I guess the timing was off. So once you start your, if you use your damage over time, there's nowhere the little fella can hide. Oh, we got a nice belt and a plan. So let us use. Oh yeah, it's a good belt. Oh, and yeah, the plan we don't have it. So again, no reason not to break the bow. Even though we don't really need it, technically we do need it for the defeat, which will take long enough to complete. So then we free our friend Supergirl, and holy moly, we went up one level.
Kryptonite and stuck me in this red sunlight cage. I think he even took some of my blood. I have to go talk to Cal. I mean, Superman. Thanks again.
So let's go with
When I don't feel so
the Ionic Drain. And let's skip the cinematics. I'm not sure why I can't.
Want to see the world through my eyes? It's easy.
So there we go, we got a few feeds. So I'll probably adjust my loadout a bit. Let me just check. So I'll probably replace my Tesla Blast with the Ionic Drain. So let's go and see. Essentially, the reason why I replaced it is that it's a similar long-range attack. So, as I mentioned before, I usually put my long-range attack on the triangle button. And also the Ionic Drain, unlike the Tesla Blast, gives a 35% extra damage to my character. as opposed to the ionic drain, which I can't scroll somehow. Okay, let's go here. So essentially, the ionic drain, unlike the Tesla Blast, will give me 50% extra damage, where the Tesla Blast was 35% extra damage. But also, the ionic drain is known as what is known as a finisher. If you see, it says if below 35% extra health, the attack deals extra damage. So once you see the health of your opponent going down, going down, going down, if it goes below 35%, you could use this power, do extra damage, and hopefully finish him off in one move, in one attack. So, and also there's these little, I don't know if you recall, there's these little barrels that you have to destroy. So let's go and do that now that our friend Supergirl did open the door for us. There we go. Oh, and there's one right here. So there we go. And there we go. Some of those little it's not really a side mission, but let's say well, let's call it a side mission for now. But so no, some of those little side mission that give you a feat. Uh, I suppose once you do them once, twice, 23 times, they probably can get annoying. So at some point, I expect people probably just don't when you create a new character, don't bother with those anymore and just buy the feat. So let's show you the ionic drain. Essentially, it pretty much does the same effect as this, but with extra stuff, and of course a different color, which looks so nice. So let's pick that. I think that will be the last one, if I'm not mistaken. If not, we'll just look around and for the last one. Essentially, once you bring the last one, you will know because that little console will activate. So as long as the console didn't activate, go look for the next barrel. But once you actually bring the last one, then you can use the console, and it will burn out all that evil toxic waste, and it will give you a nice little feat, a 10-point feat. It's not game breaking, but every little bit helps. It's a fairly easy feat to accomplish, so there's no real reason not to do it. Although I can understand if some tasks get too repetitive, of course, at some point you don't really want to do them. Personally, the what is known as the Toyman missions, holy crap, do I hate those. That or the races. I'm really not a fan of the races. I can understand if some people like them. I'm just not one of those. I'm glad they stopped adding those little meta games, I guess, into. Oh, I heard something. Oh, I heard another something. It's like Christmas morning. So I'm glad they stopped. Well, essentially they had races in the original game, from what I understand, and they never added any afterwards, which is understandable. I don't know anyone who actually liked those. I know a lot of people who never did a single race ever, and I don't blame them. I've done it. I've done the races on a couple of characters, and I pretty much swore never to do any again. But once in a while, I'll find reasons to do at least a few races for some reason. So let's go check our mail. What did we get? Ah, a nice little bow tie, sort of. Nah, it's no, not very good. But it's not what I thought it was. Uh, so let's go see our friend Dr. Charles
Star Labs in
and
Metropolis
tell her we
thank you
completed
for
our
stepping in
mission.
at Metro General. As long as
And she
Lexington
gave
takes
us
care of
a
its
nice
work
little trinket,
for his own
which I
good,
think
he'll
I'll start
always
using.
need heroes like you.
Why do I use the trinket as opposed to the Tombot? The Tombot is actually is pretty good. But the trinket, in addition to essentially when I use the trinket, I'll have 38 extra might. But also, even if I don't use it ever, it gives me 185 extra health, 259 extra power, 14 precision, 62 might, 64 restoration, and 17 vitalizations. So there's no reason not to use it. So we did Dr. Charles's mission. So as you see, we have to go to see Commissioner Gordon and Gotham to get the next step of our mission. But we'll go to our base instead, and we'll re-imprint our armories as usual. So the armories are all kinds of awesome to have. They really are. Sadly, they require maintenance, sort of, in the sense that whenever you get a new piece of armory or a new skill point, you have to reimprint all your armories. That's a small price to pay, I suppose, for being able to switch a role or to switch gear on the fly. And as you see, we already have 25 marks of victory. We could almost get a side gig if you wanted to, but let's wait a bit. And also, let's assign our skill points. So we have an extra power. So I'll use the same for this one. So essentially, this would give power back to 7 members of the group, but to 8 members of the group actually, counting yourself. So essentially, the whole group, since a raid group is pretty much 8 players. And for the loadout, let's replace our. Again, we'll do the same thing. We will replace our Tesla Blast with the Ionic Drain. But I will also. Essentially, I try to keep the same powers in the same spot. It makes it less confusing when you switch role. Like if you're used to this button for one power, if you have it on another button for your other role, it can get quickly confusing. Like your muscle memory will be used to you to will be used to using, let's say, the left triangle to use the power, and then somehow now you have to use the right triangle. So ideally, I try to keep the same powers in the same spot. It's not always possible for some reason, but as a rule of thumb, I'll try to do that. So let's imprint this armory before we forget. And also, there are distinctions sometimes. Like you see the ionic drain. Oh, oh that, I forgot it did not work. Give me a second. Loadout, healer, ionic. Got the wrong power. So you see the ionic drain is in the last button, the right triangle button, and you saw essentially on with the DPS it would do an effect like this if you remember, but somehow with the healer it does this instead. It is the same power, but somehow the animation is different. I'm not sure why, but essentially I guess it helps you distinguish the DPS version of the power from the healer version of the power. But not sure why they would. Not sure why they want that. But we'll play along. Yeah, doesn't really matter. So there we go. Let's repair, or maybe we can. Oh yeah. Let's get a new stack of cola. Essentially, we're going to have to re-imprint our armories because I just decided to get the latest cola, the best cola I can get. So let's re-imprint. And then do the same for our friend the healer. Uh, and let's re-imprint. Now we can go back and sell our lesser colas. So essentially, the Soda Cola Classics are no longer good enough for us, sadly. So let's put this here, put this here. Nope, no, not this. So essentially, I'm keeping those weapons. Oh, cannot trade. Let me check. Oh, I cannot give it to another character. Okay, usually I'll try to keep some of the gear that I can. If I cannot use it, I'll try to keep it for possibly another character I have that could use it. But sadly, I can't trade this one, so I'll sell it. Might as well. I was needing the money anyway. So I guess that was it for today with our friend Captain Lightning. So next time we'll go see our friend Gordon, and we'll see what we can do to help him out. And also we'll probably do the vault again and see will we get our Captain Marvel T-shirt? Will we not? I guess only time will tell. So thanks guys for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye.